Hello. I am just getting started on a new way of making my vision board this year, and I thought I'd take a pause and actually show you what I'm doing, and maybe it will inspire you. So this, first of all, is a picture of my 2022 vision board from last year, and this hangs physically above my desk. So I'm looking up at it right now, and it's actually a big piece of yellow poster board, and I printed out a lot of things that I found on the internet, and a couple things from magazines and a couple of my own photographs, and I printed them all out individually. It was a little bit, a lot of paper wasted the way I was doing it last year, because I was kind of putting everything onto one piece of paper at a time, or managing to get a couple of images onto the same sheet of paper. And so last year, I would say my board was already becoming more of a soul vision board, as opposed to the kind of vision boards that I used to make. I made my very first family vision board with my kids back in 2012, and it was amazing. I have a whole story and blog post about some of the things that we put on our vision board back then, which manifested into reality in really amazing ways. So I have continued to make my own vision board every year since 2012. Like to make a new one at the start of each year. But what's happened over the years is, rather than it being kind of the material things that I want, I feel like I have manifested the things in my life now that really, my life is amazing. And now my vision board is turning more soulful. So as you can see from my 22 vision board, I did make a section down here which was more focused on my health, on my physical body, and getting out and getting exercise and getting fruit. I know what each of these things mean, playing more. And I just decided last year I wanted to take dance breaks and dance a lot more. So this was about bringing that into my life, getting out into nature so I can hear my intuition. I won't go through all of it, but this was my tarot card draw for the start of 22. I wanted to keep that there. And then this is my work, doing more soul plan readings, running my retreats in Ibiza, creating these soul sister circles with my H2O group in Summer Soul School, beginning to write my book, my podcast, and then moving into this area which is about my family, my relationship, and my friendships and things like that. So I love my 22 vision board, and I have the same sensation as I have every year when it's time to take that one down and create a new one, is, oh my goodness, I love this board. But I also know that every single year when I make a new one, I'm always really happy that I did. It just brings a new energy. After a year, it kind of becomes a little bit like you're looking at it all the time and you don't see it in the same way that you saw it when you very first made it. So I know by now that no matter how much I love my board, I am going to be making a new one. So I'm going to show you how I'm doing it differently this year. So I will click out of this, and I am going to show you how I use Canva in conjunction with Pinterest to create my soul vision board. Now, what I've done differently this year is I have gone in to Canva and I've created, using custom dimensions, 65 centimeters by 45 centimeters, which is kind of roughly what my physical poster board is. And that way I can start to lay out the images and know how big to make them. I can make that smaller if I have more images, and I can start to play around with this a bit. Now, ultimately, my printer is not going to print this size, so what I plan to do is then open up another document in another window in Canva, and I will make that A4, which is the size that my printer will print, and I will then, with A4, take these images and drag them over to the new A4, keeping them the same kind of dimensions they are, and then hopefully I can just print out some A4 pieces of paper and then cut those images out and put them onto my physical board. Maybe one day I'll keep it digital, but because right now I still have this beautiful space right above my computer in my office that I just love seeing the physical board. But alternatively, you could of course keep it as a digital board if that's what works for you. You could have it even be the background of your computer screen so that every time you close out of all of your windows, you can just be gazing at your vision board that way. So these are some of the images that I've pulled up already, but I paused. This isn't exactly how it might be. I can play around with this. I paused because I thought, I should be showing a little trick for how I do this. So if I go over to my Pinterest, and you are more than welcome, by the way, if you want some inspiration for your vision board, be it in more of the outer world stuff. I've got health and well-being and family and money and finances and all of the 8 key areas on the Project Me life wheel are all here. So you might be able to click on any of these and be able to find some images that you like. And if you do, you are more than welcome to put them on your vision board. I've got some other ones here. There's one called High Vibe Living and one called Soulful Inspiration. And then these are private boards at the moment because one is me just working on my website, my new website, and just coming up with inspiration for that. So I've got that as a locked private. And I also have my Ibiza retreats as a locked private. Just stuff I'm kind of working on with my retreats. But everything else that doesn't have a lock on it, my home decor has a lock on it, but everything else you see is all available for you to grab. So here's what I'm going to do. Show you an example of how you can take inspiration for something that you might find and keep going with it, and then a little trick of how to get it over into Canva. So these are some things I've already got going on. I know already that I definitely want this girl swinging. Like, I love swinging and I just love how she's swinging into the cosmos. So what I do, because I can't drag this image straight into Canva, but what I can do is drag this image into a blank email. So I put my cursor right here on the blank email. Over here, go to her. And actually, I think it works a little bit better if I open it up this way first. And I grab that and drag it over. Now, I'm on a Mac. I have no idea if this works the same way on other devices. So I'm just giving you from a Mac point of view here. Then I click over to Canva. And from here, now I can drag it over and you can see it's uploading. It wouldn't let me drag it over from Pinterest directly. I had to kind of use this little shortcut, bring it over to here and then bring it over. And then voila, there she is. And I'll be able to decide when. I'm not going to organize it now. I'm just going to kind of bring my images over here and then decide. I've noticed in the past that when I have too many things, that are lots of things to read, that I tend to look at the images more. So I'm looking for images that convey what words would be saying. So I do have this beautiful thing here to remind me to protect my energy. I've got her here just about the tarot cards, and she just really inspired me. This was in a tarot card draw that has the 9 of Cups. I've actually taken the 9 of Cups off of it. I might leave it there. We'll see, or else I might make it like that. For me, this is about abundance and just unlimited abundance that comes when my heart is open and it just attracts this whole cups flowing over, which is in my soul plan. I've got the cups flowing over in my soul plan. So this image really spoke to me. But there are some phrases and things that I really, really like. And so I'm going to not have too many of these, but some of them, when they really speak to me, I'm going to do that. And this is all about my membership and women from all over the world in Soul Explorers. Yeah, so things I drag over here, some might make the cutting room floor because I don't want it to be too busy with too many things. But one idea I'm potentially going to do this year, I'll show you something. I found like this background of this beautiful rainbow flowers. And one idea I have is to make that possibly be a background. And if I go to position and I go send it to the back, now it is a background. So you can see that I can see some white space there, that could end up being a really beautiful background. And look, I can even extend that if I wanted that to be the entire background, for example. And that way I've got that in the background. One thing that's occurred to me is that my printer ink might be like, whoa, trying to print the nuances of this much color. So what I might do is take this, email this to my local printer, and then pop over there and have them print it for me. And in that case, I could even potentially have them print it out on a much bigger piece of paper, like A3. I'll be playing with that, so watch this space. I might give you an update on that. But that way, it's eating up their printer ink rather than mine, because these printer ink cartridges can be very expensive. So if I do decide to go for the big juicy background like that, that might be my answer. Seems now that I've made it too big. I also liked this as a background, so I could do a combination of both of these. Again, I need to send it to the back and see how that might work. Send it to the back again. So potentially that, or it might end up being too busy. I might feel like that just all looks too busy, so that's to be decided. But right now I'm sticking with this. I've brought her over so I can delete her off of there. I can head back to Pinterest. And what I wanted to show you is that if you see an image you like, you go down and it shows you more images in that vein. And then it will give you even categories: spiritual art, spiritual artwork, ethereal art, dreamy art. So you can get really lost in a lot of this kind of stuff. And if it's like, no, this isn't really the kind of imagery that speaks to me, then what you can do is go to something else. And there's some more backgrounds and things that could be really cool. This was really speaking to me. I love this image. But then I can look through and I go, oh, there's other images like this that have got the kind of flower, the rose opening. And then you can go, oh, beautiful nature scenes. And you can click on that and it will bring you down a whole nother avenue of nature scenes. And of course, you can use the search bar to type things in, but I tend to find that sometimes it brings in just things that are completely wrong. It's kind of best for me to get started this way for myself. So let me, the back button is your best friend here, because you can go down complete tangents and then want to get back to where you were. So use that back button. These are all kind of inspirational things, but my web designer and I are kind of looking at just what do I like, what calls to me, this kind of thing. So that's that. I'm going to go back to back arrow, back arrow. If you were thinking more like, I really want something to remind me to be really into my health and my nutrition, then where's the health here? Health and well-being. You could be like, oh yeah, I really want to get to bed early. I haven't pinned, I have to say, I haven't pinned on some of these more outer world areas in a long time, so they're not really things that are resonating with me at this moment personally, but that's because I'm creating more of a soul board now. But you could go into money, to remind yourself that money is energy, let it flow. You know, there's a few things here, but like I said, you could tap on something and then it will give you more ideas. I attract money easily every day. You can get affirmations, positive thoughts, financial freedom, money magnet. You see what I mean? So you can find some affirmations here, or just some images that will, when you glance up at your vision board, it will remind you of what your intentions are for this year. So I paused the music that I was playing. I had some beautiful kind of kundalini music playing in the background, and before I even began, I got my crystals around me and my essential oils, and I looked at my journal and my workbook for this year where I've set my intention. So I'm not coming into this with no idea at all of what I want to put on my board. I've very much come into this session with some very clear intentions of how I want to be this year, how I want to feel. And I want to make sure that I don't just go down all of these kind of ethereal rounds of images, because I also have some tangible things on my intentions for this year. And I want to make sure that I do have some things there that are going to remind me of some of the more tangible things. And I might put some pictures up again of my family and of things to remind me of my relationship and all that. But I just wanted to take a little pause before I got too far into this, just to show you that little trick about how you can use Pinterest for ideas, because these days magazines aren't really doing it for me so much anymore. I don't even buy magazines anymore. And you're really limited by what you find in the magazines, I find. And when you are doing it this way, oh, make sure you go to my visual inspiration board, because this has a lot of, oh, I might have to put Prince on my board. Yeah, this year, it's really funny. I didn't even know that Prince was one of my guardian angels until 2021 or 2022. And so, yeah, now that I know, he needs to go onto my vision board. But you'll find all kinds of beautiful images here. And like I said, you see something you like, you click on it, and it will show you more things like that. So if my kind of style that I'm showing you on my vision board this year isn't quite you, find things that are you. Bad bitch club. So find things that are resonating for you. Don't just be, choosing things because I've got them on mine. Find things that make it really unique to you. And I was starting to say something there. Lost my thought tangent, but yeah, just to show you that you can take something from Pinterest, drag it over into, well, I'm using Mac Mail, and then I'm dragging it over here. Now, if you can't do that, you can do it the way that I used to do it before I discovered this trick, which is find an image you like. I'm going to just click on any image here, and I right click, and I go save image as, and then I call it something, I give it a name, and I bring it down to, well, I've got like one called Vision Board or something, and I bring it down there, and then I have it on my computer, and then I can print it that way, or I can upload it. I can go here to Pinterest and go upload files and upload it from my computer. So if the dragging over to your mail browser isn't the shortcut, then do it that way, where you download the images into a file folder on your computer, and then you can upload the files that way, which is the way I've always done it until I discovered this little hack. Okay, I will love to hear how you get on with making either your vision board or your soul vision board. Lots of love to you, and have a beautiful, beautiful year ahead. Happy creating.